Hello and welcome to the Basic Christian Guide. Today, Small Basic Christian Guide. Today we have Only Worship God. That's the teaching of today, and hopefully be mild tempered. But let's see. Only Worship God. Matthew 4 verses 8 to 11, Matthew 6 verse 24, Luke 4 verse 8, Acts 10 verses 25 to 26, Acts 15 verses 19 to 20, Acts 21 verse 25, Romans 1 verses 23 to 25, Ephesians 5 verse 5, Colossians chapter 3 verse 5, 1st of John chapter 5 verse 21, Revelations 19 verse 10, Revelations 22 verses 8, 9, and 16. So let's get to it. By the way, last time, Acts 15:10, I read the word tempt and did not realize it. Well, anyway. Only worship God. Matthew 4, verse 8 to 11. It says, Again the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. Let me see if I can get this right. Okay, that should do. And saith unto him, All these things I will give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. So the devil took Jesus to a mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world, and said, All these things I will give to you, if you worship me. And Jesus said, It is written, You shall only worship the Lord your God. My goodness, in English is so much more complicated than in Spanish. Okay, Matthew 6:24. It says, No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon, or Mammon, which is an idol god of wealth. But still, only worship God. And now Luke 4 verse 8. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Get away from me, Satan, for it is written, You shall only worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. And now we jump to Acts 10, verses 25 and 26. And Peter was coming in, and as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him, and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. But Peter took him up, saying, Stand up, I myself am also a man. So Peter did not let anyone worship him, or even bow down to him, or pray to him. Anyway, moving on. So now we're Acts chapter 15, verses 19 and 20. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them, which from God among the Gentiles are turned, which from among the Gentiles are turned to God. But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood. So this is new converts that were Gentiles, and they were saying, okay, we're only telling them to abstain from things sacrificed to idols, abstain from fornication, abstain from things that have been strangled, that have been killed by strangling, and to abstain from blood. To abstain from blood, because in the blood is the life of the animal, and God will demand the blood from everything, from every animal and from every man. And from the things that are strangled, because in either drowning or suffocation was how things died during the great flood, with which God decided to never do again, and so it is seen as an abomination. And let me take a moment to present also that in another part of the Bible it says, like further here, it says, if somebody serves you something, don't ask if it was strangled or if it still has blood or what kind of meat it is. Just eat it. Eat it, pray for it, and eat it. Don't worry about it. However, if someone says, hey, this was strangled, or this is this, or this was sacrificed to an idol, then don't eat it. Moving on. So now Acts 21 verses 25. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangled, and from fornication. So it's the same. Moving on. So now we're in Romans 1:23 to 25, because Romans 2 is right there, but we're here. Okay, and change the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness, thus the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So this is interesting. Now God never said to make image of himself or of anything, to pray to that thing and to worship. Anyway, moving on. Now we are at Ephesians chapter 5, and we're going to go to verse 5. For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, hath any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. So coveting, greed, that is idolatry. Not just cows or football, it's also greed. Okay, so now we're in Colossians 3 verse 5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affections, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. Here it says it more clearly. Alright, next. And here we are, not in John, but in 1 John. Wait. Oh, yeah. There's 2 John, but we're up here. 1 John chapter 5, verse 21. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Amen. Now, when he says little children, it's an affectionate way of referring to the Christians in that church. Kind of like when, well, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so now we're in Revelations 19. That's Revelations 20, but it's down there and we're here. Revelations 19:10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. In fact, let's go from 9 for a little bit of context. And he saith unto me, Write. In fact, a little further back. Okay, we're starting in verse 9. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. This is an angel sent by God to John to give him this message. So this is near the end of the message. It says, And he saith unto me, Write. Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. We're going to eat in heaven. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. So the angel is telling John, don't worship me, don't pray to me, don't do any of that stuff to me. Worship God. So now we are in Revelations 22, verses 8 and 9. And I, John, saw these things and heard them. And when I had heard and seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel which showed me these things. He saith unto me, See thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren the prophets, and of them which keep the sayings of this book. Worship God. And 16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. So again, in Revelations 22, 8 and 9 shows the angel rejecting any worship and any prayer. As for 16, Jesus, it says that Jesus is the bright and morning star. This might confuse some people, as morning star is, in different words, Lucifer, and Lucifer is the devil. Now, here is a theory, a very good theological theory, which I got from my mother, that the morning star is a position, not a specific being. So when the devil was kicked out of heaven, he stopped being the morning star, and Jesus took that position of the morning star, not because it was a promotion, but because it needed to be filled. Somebody needed to do the job. And well, that's all the time we have. See you next time.